first couple of my other little tables in progress. Paint is dried on these, and I'm going to be putting a complete resin coating on top. I'm looking forward to seeing these high gloss. Evie here from Sunflower Arts and Crafts. Today I'm going to be the next stage of one of my tables that I've painted here. I'm thrilled with the results. As you can see, it's turned out quite beautiful. I'm going to be putting a resin coating on it, so the first thing you've got to make sure is I didn't put any silicone in these paint mixtures whatsoever, because I have discovered in the past it's hard to remove it and then I get an uneven resin coating. So I've gone without silicone, and even without it, it's still created little cell structures, which is quite interesting. Okay, the first thing we have to do is make sure it's thoroughly dry. This has been done for weeks now. And clean it off, wipe it, clean it many times to make sure there's no dirt, dust or oil come to the surface, because even in Floetrol there is oil and it will bring the oil to the surface. So we've got to remove the oil off the surface first, which I've already done. The next thing I've got to do is make sure that, and I've got a little spirit level here, it's level. So I've already leveled up my table because it wasn't. So I've got my spirit level here, tells me it's level. So it should flow very evenly. And any slight indentations, variations in height will just be filled. It's filled with the resin. Okay, so with that, I'll just show you what I'm going to be using, which is this one here. It's a glass finish, and purchased from Bunnings here in Australia. It's 2 parts. So we've got the resin itself, part A, and we've got the hardener, part B. Now this combination comes with, it does come with a booklet which gives you all the information in here, and a very handy part of it is the measurements with your size of the work that you want to cover. It gives you approximate measurements, which is handy. The previous on the smaller box, it said it had to have equal amounts of hardener and resin. So in the larger box which I've purchased, it says no, I have to have 5 parts resin, 3 parts hardener. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to do that today. It's got to be a warm environment, preferably 20 degrees plus. So I'm going, and I hate the heat, so I'm now going to turn on the heater and warm this area up, which helps with the flow. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, I've prepared the resin combination. I've used 250 ml of resin and 150 ml of B. That's the hardener. I've mixed it thoroughly, making sure to scrape from the sides. I'm using a very clean old ice cream container, because everything you use has to be thrown away afterwards, which I've discovered, rather than using my good measuring jugs. So here we go. I feel that's okay now. Try to use it all. It's just a bit too expensive to waste, especially when you're mixing up this much for a large object. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is get rid of some of those air bubbles, which you can probably see disappearing before your eyes. It won't hurt it keeping it warm, because it likes to be warm. The product makes it a little bit more fluid. Just don't get too close. Air bubbles are disappearing nicely. Right, so if I can see any more there, a few more there, there. I might go over it one more time once I've spread it. That's looking quite good. Right. I've wrapped up the legs, hopefully that I don't get it on the legs as well. So we'll just see how this goes. I want it to drip over the sides as well. So I'm just moving it towards the edge at this point. It's a very messy, sticky thing to do. I've got plastic bags everywhere. Just move that back on the table a wee bit. Okay, once more I'm just going to get rid of more air bubbles that I can see. There. I've heated up the room, hopefully to the right temperature. If you haven't seen one of these little blow torches before, they're very handy. You just buy them at Bunnings. They're called Trade Flame, and they're actually just a little lighter in there that you can refill. So very, very handy if you can't manage something heavy. Right, so I'm now going to let that settle just for a minute and then just coarse, let it come over the edge. I want to try and keep it thick at the edges because otherwise, as it runs over, it's going to pull it down. So that's why I'm just doing it gradually, letting the resin settle. I think I might have mixed up just the right amount, which I'm quite delighted about. My maths isn't very good. I like to scrape it off the stick on the edge so that then that little bit will then run down rather than just removing it totally. At least this time I remember to put gloves on, thank goodness. How's that looking? A little bit more here I can see. Need to work that over the edge. Any more air bubbles? This will dry with an absolute glass finish, which is stunning. It's only perfect for indoor use only, not for outdoor use. what I'm hoping to do is to make tables for people to go with their own decor. So if you would like a table made to suit your colour scheme and soft furnishings in your home, please contact me. I'd love to do it for you. Just going to go over that one more time and see a few more little air bubbles there. You can probably see them popping. Oh, there's a hair. Got to remove that. Probably one of mine. And I've got it. Got it. Oh, I would have been devastated. Okay. I just continue to scrape off the edges here and might keep my eye on this as it's going, and I'll come back and show you when it's dry. Thank you. Okay. Well, the table's now been resined. I can't lift it up because I don't want to unbalance it. It's got a lovely glow on it. You might be able to see the reflection of my hand on there now. And what I've done, as it's run off, I scrape back up on the sides to try and build up on the sides because it will pull it off, as I said before. So what I do is go around, for example, and as it's dripping, I've been lucky enough, I've managed to actually resin coat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coasters now. Just by, as it's dripping, I go around with a orange wood stick, scrape off any drips and allow it to go onto a coaster, and just continue to do this so that none of it is wasted. That way I can do a small object at the same time. I found this is what works for me. I don't know what works for other people. A lot of people prefer to put a barrier up and put tape around the edges, but I actually love the look of it over the edges rather than sand it off or cut it with a knife, which, yeah, anyway, this is my preference. Not necessarily the way you might like to do it, but I find it works for me, and it gives me resin for another coaster there as it's dripping. I just keep putting it on the edges and letting it roll through. And as I say, I've managed to coat all those other coasters now, which has saved mixing up another batch and wasting stuff. I mean, I still have drips here, and where I've probably wasted maybe, I don't know, a dessert spoonful, but I think that's pretty good going considering the size of the object that I'm doing. Anyway, I'll come back now when it is completely dry. Thank you.